Hi, welcome to Living Happily with Lori. For this December, I have something special for you. It's all about reading anywhere from 1 to 3 stories from Chicken Soup for the Soul. I have 2 different books that I'll be reading from. This one here is The Joy of Christmas, and it's got 101 tales of inspirational love and wonder stories in this one. So that's one of the ones. And the second one is also Chicken Soup for the Soul. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and it's also 101 tales of holiday love and wonder. So I will be flipping through while reading a couple of stories from these books to give inspiration and for us all to find the Christmas spirit together. So pause the video if you'd like. Grab yourself a cup of hot tea. I've got some hot cranberry tea in my Laura Secord cup. And yeah, these videos will be taking me to the end of my YouTube channel. So these will go all the way to Christmas Eve and Eve Day, like day of the Eve, like Christmas Day Eve. And then after that, I will be pretty much closing her down, my channel, in January. But until then, I want to have a wonderful Christmas with you and enjoy these stories of other people sharing with us as I share them with you. If you have the book, I'd love for you to read along, and I'd also love for you to tell me in the comments if you like the stories that I read after the end of each day after the video. So let's carry on. Have a cup of tea, pause the video, go get it, and we'll see you back here in a second. Hi, we are back, and I'm going to be reading from the Blue Book, and the first chapter in that is It's Time to Count Our Blessings. So let's carry on to the first story, and they are very short, some of them, and some of them are more longer. Grab yourself a cozy blanket, get by the fire, and let's enjoy some fun. And I will be looking down a lot because that's where the words are. All right, let's begin. Christmas oranges. In every conceivable manner, the family is link to our past, bridge to our future, by Alex Haley. Every Christmas, my mom would fill our stockings with little treats, so my siblings and I could get up at the crack of dawn, and my parents could sleep a few extra hours. We were allowed to play with anything in our stockings as soon as we got up, but we had to wait for our parents to open our gifts from Santa and the family. Our stockings were always overflowing with small toys and candies. At the very tip of the stocking, the very last thing that we would pull out was an orange out of our stockings. After uncovering so many, this is hard to read in this light. I guess I never thought it through, and my candle just went up. Well, how do we like them apples? Hang on, I'm going to alter this lighting. Alright, where were we? Okay, for years I hated the tradition It was disappointing to pull an orange out of my stocking after uncovering so many fun and delicious treats. An orange wasn't special. I could eat one at a time, any time of the year, and it was just taking up room that could have been filled with more candy. When I was 13, I finally asked my mother why she put oranges in our stockings. She sat down with me at the kitchen table and explained that my grandfather had grown up very poor. His family had a brain tumor and left him blind and unable to work, so his mother relied on welfare and donations from the church to take care of her 7 children. Every Christmas, a local church donated a basket of fruit to their family. This was my grandfather's favorite day of the year because it was the only day he could eat fresh fruit. The oranges were his favorite because they tasted like sunshine. When he grew up, he always made sure to have a fresh bowl of oranges around Christmas time so he could share his favorite Christmas memory with his children. When my mom finished telling the story, I felt ashamed. In my rush to collect as much candy as possible, I had forgotten to be grateful. Now the orange at the bottom of my stocking is a reminder to be grateful for the beautiful Christmas that my parents gave me, for the hard work they did that ensured I could have an orange that day of the year. And that's the first one. Touches my heart because I know how it feels to be an unwealthy person. So, yeah. Anyway, the next one is called Coat Off My Back. And this one says, Christmas is a season for kindling the fire of hospitality in the hall, the genial flame of charity in the heart, by Washington Irving. It was Christmas Eve, and we just begun to drive home from my parents' house in Pennsylvania. Our 2 children were bundled under coats and blankets in the back seat, singing along to Christmas carols on the radio, entertaining their daddy while he drove. Visions of lasagna danced through my head. Tomorrow my parents would make the 1-hour journey to join us for lunch. I reviewed everything I needed to do before I laid down my head for a much-needed rest. Homemade sauce had to go into the crock pot. Wine had to go in the refrigerator. The kids would cuddle in front of holiday movies until they couldn't keep their eyes open, or until Santa Tracker said he was close. Once they were tucked into bed, I'd spring into action, sweeping the main floor, scrubbing the bathroom, and setting out the good china. All before Santa arrived, I had a lot to do to make it a perfect Christmas. Barely 5 minutes into our ride, it began to snow. The heat in the truck was never quite enough, so I reminded the kids to snuggle under the extra blanket between them. I zipped up my heavy-duty outdoor vest. I slipped my hands into my pockets to get my mittens and hat, my fingers wrapped around something papery, and I mentally scolded myself as I slipped on my gloves. I never left cash in my pockets for fear of forgetting it. "We've just got to take it slow," Dan remarked, carefully watching the road. It was one more obstacle on our way to the perfect holiday. Why couldn't it just wait until we got home? I asked myself silently. As we came up to a turn, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a man standing next to a gas station alongside the road and holding a large piece of cardboard. "It's not the kind of night to be stuck outside," my husband remarked. The snow was falling heavily now, and the man was barely visible as we drove past. Somewhere deep inside me, something instinctive and hurting rose up as I was doing the holiday all wrong. My priorities were completely out of whack. "Turn around," I shouted suddenly. The children went quiet. "Right now, turn around." My husband, having never heard me speak so firmly, carefully pulled into an empty parking lot and drove back. I didn't know what I was going to do or say, but my worries seemed insignificant as I got out of the car. My husband reached into my pocket, gave me this. "It's all I have with me." I nodded and hurried along as I walked in front of the headlights of our truck. The snow was now coming down hard, and I was sure even with the roar of the truck engine and the bright lights behind me that the man was unable to hear me approach. As I tapped him on the shoulder of his worn, thin hoodie, he turned. He was a young man, probably in his mid-20s. His wispy blonde hair blew about in the wind, and his skin was red and chapped. Yet, all through the snow, I could make out his kind, bright blue eyes. "Are you okay?" I felt stupid. Of course he wasn't okay. If he were, he wouldn't be standing outside in this weather. For a moment, the cold, the wind, and even the wet snow all disappeared. The world stood still. My wife and I were spending the night in a homeless shelter. "She's pregnant, and we were just trying to get home," he explained. "Our car broke down, and we're stuck. I knew he was only a few blocks from the shelter. I also knew that in weather like this, they would soon be accepting only women and children, as the space very limited. I'm not cynical by nature, and something deep inside told me his story was true. I handed him the money my husband had given me. "I hope this helps." Then I took off my vest and put it over his shoulders. "You shouldn't be out on a night like this. I'm sorry for your situation. I only wish I could do more." "I can't take your coat," he protested. "But you will, and you will take the hat and the gloves as well." I placed them on his trembling hands. "You need them far more than I do. Please take care of yourself. Merry Christmas." Hugging him, I hurried back to the truck. I felt him watch us leave. I am sure those items meant more to him than they ever could to me. My kids handed me a blanket, and we all sat quietly, listening to the radio. The atmosphere was more reflective than jovial. I'm not sure if that's how you say it. I thought about everything that had seemed important just moments ago. Moments before. It didn't really matter how perfect everything was. We had each other, and it was okay if the floors weren't swept, if the bathroom wasn't tidied, but if it was just tidied but not scrubbed. It wouldn't be okay if Christmas lunch was served on paper plates, but then it would be. When we stopped for coffee and treats, no one was disappointed when I realized that I'd left all the cash we had on us in the pockets of my vest. They needed it more than us, Mummy, my son said maturely. I hope they made it home. We all do, my husband replied. And that was by Nicole Ann Rook McAllister. Well, how are you liking those two stories so far? I think tomorrow I will be reading with my glasses on. I should be actually doing it right now. I'm gonna give you one more story. We're up to 16 minutes, so I hope you don't mind one more story. It is 2 and a bit pages. This one is called The Grinch Came to Visit. And to us, family means putting our arms around each other and being there, by Barbara Bush. Last December, the Grinch came to visit. We were caught unaware because of all the appearances. It was going to be a fine Christmas. Our 2 daughters and their families from Wisconsin and Chicago would be with us in Ohio, and preparations were mostly finished. The tree was up, the house decorated, and presents wrapped under the tree. The day before the Grinch arrived, Christmas was still 5 days away, and we were completing the planning for the 9 people who would be here. By the end of the day, we were ready. That was Tuesday. On Wednesday, the Grinch was the first to be our guest to arrive. He arrived at 10 p.m. when my wife, Kathy, heading for bed, complained of a little bloating and pains in her stomach. An hour later, she was in the bathroom on her knees for the first of dozens of visits the rest of the night. It continued all Wednesday night and into Thursday, when we called our kids to tell them not to come. We didn't want the little ones catching whatever she had. Susan had one farthest away. Susan, the one farthest away, is in Wisconsin, decided not to chance it and keep her family home. It was a wise decision. Missy, however, still planned to come in Chicago because her family also had plans for Christmas with her husband's family in Toledo. I think that's how you say it. We reserved a hotel room from them, thinking that staying away from us most of the time would be somewhat of the prevention methods. On Friday night, I met them at the hotel and took them out to dinner, while Kathy stayed home alone, staring at the paper plate of food as she did not want to eat. The next day was Christmas Eve. I returned to the hotel in the morning to take them to visit my mother, who was recovering from hip surgery. We arrived home that afternoon to find Kathy was still sick. Missy and I managed to make dinner preparation for Christmas Eve dinner, and things appeared to be proceeding satisfactorily. But late in the afternoon, I too began feeling pains in my stomach and became bloated. Within an hour, I began my own series of visits to the bathroom. My dinner time on Christmas Eve, I sat beside Kathy with a few untouched bites on my own paper plate. Then things deteriorated further. The Grinch launched a second attack, and everyone fell like flies. Throughout Christmas Day, more and more headed to the bathroom or to bed. By the time we tried to serve lunch on the day after Christmas, the only ones still standing were 2 grandchildren, thoroughly enjoying having access to the desserts. The rest of us started the tiny proportions we had put put on our plates. Unfortunately, these two well grandchildren didn't escape either. One of them fell ill on the, I don't know what this says, turnpike halfway back to Chicago the next day, and the other got bit the moment she got home. In the middle of all of this, we managed to sit around the tree and open presents. The Grinch couldn't steal Christmas. We had laughter and joy and somehow enjoyed being miserable together. The joy of Christmas never left, even though we sometimes had to remind ourselves we would enjoy it more later than, oh my gosh, I need my glasses on, my eyes are straining. We sometimes had to remind ourselves we would enjoy it more later when we'd tell the story year after year. The Grinch never had a chance. He gave us his best shot, but he couldn't destroy our Christmas. The only one disgruntled was our daughter, Susan, who stayed in Wisconsin and missed it all. Boy, it sounds like you guys had a really good time. I wish we had been there and gotten sick with you. We had learned once again that Christmas was nothing to do with presents and big meals, and everything to do with love and being together. Well, we are on that one. So, we read 3 tonight. So, out of the 3 stories, what was your favorite? Was it the oranges? And I'm flipping through here. Christmas oranges, the coat off my back, or the Grinch came to visit? Well, tomorrow, I guarantee you, I will have my glasses on, and I'm gonna make it a little bit more brighter so I can read better. I tried it this way tonight because I just wanted to get the feel of it. And yeah, I hope that you come back, because I will be doing this, like I said, all through December, reading a couple stories to you, hoping to find that Christmas spirit and remembering why we celebrate Christmas. What is your favorite part? Do you have interest in stories like this? Do you have these books? Have you read them before? Yeah. I'm actually doing something with some of my Facebook friends and family. I am currently, for Christmas cards, we are actually sending our favorite recipes to each other. And so this year, the recipes that I will be getting from those, I will be incorporating into my family's Christmas dinner. So, yeah. Anyway, this is me signing off and hoping that you enjoyed the first segment of Stories with Lori. Don't mind the back, that's just our cats getting into mischief. Always allow your spirit to be the warrior within. Always be yourself, and always have fun. Have a great night.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean.